Hello and welcome to CGTN's Global Business. I'm Lincoln Humphreys and here are the headlines we have for you this hour. Green goals. China reaffirms its commitment to carbon neutrality and green energy goals, entering its 15th five-year plan period with a locked focus on renewables and carbon intensity cuts. Healthy growth. Medical inbound tourism is building momentum thanks to China's visa-free policy, well-trained doctors and internationally recognised facilities, turning medical and wellness services into a strategic export sector. And canal crunch. Middle East conflicts and precautionary measures in response to a strong El Niño have driven a surge in demand and transit fees for the Panama Canal, squeezing shipping margins and reshaping global container flow. First, a look at the Chinese mainland markets for you, where equities closed down this Thursday. The Shanghai Composite lost 0.5%. The Shenzhen Component dropped 0.87%, while the Chinext also down almost 0.5%. Now we'll look at those regional markets, how they performed and how Wall Street closed overnight. We begin today with the latest on China's ecological and environmental progress. On Thursday, the State Council held a press conference to unveil the first ever Building Beautiful China five-year plan, covering 2026 through to 2030. The plan marks a strategic shift from isolated environmental measures to integrated efforts in carbon reduction, pollution control, ecological restoration and economic growth. It sets 18 targets covering air, water and soil quality, including a further 10% cut in nationwide PM 2.5 density to below 27 micrograms per cubic metre by 2030, raising the share of good quality surface water to 85% and boosting rural sewage treatment to 70%. These goals support the broader 2035 vision. Separately, China's Ecological and Environmental Code takes effect on August 15th. Wuhan, in China's central Hubei province, exemplifies the shift from industrial heritage to green urban living. Our reporter He Jingyi takes us through this green transformation.
Wuhan, a city built by the water, has long been world famous for its majestic one river and one lake, the mighty Yangtze River and the expansive East Lake.
Walking along this scenic riverside, you'd never guess this was once Wuhan's industrial rust belt. Docks-piled shoreline, sand and gravel stretch for miles, and riverbank collapses were an ever-present danger.
Xingshan district was once the roaring heart of Wuhan's heavy industry, famously known as the Steel City. In 2013, it spearheaded a comprehensive renovation project to reclaim its 7.5-kilometer shoreline.
After the renovation here, the original industrial and sand docks were completely cleared out. Following the remediation, it has transformed from an industrial civilization to an ecological civilization. While enjoying leisure and recreation, citizens can still recall the industrial memories of this old dock.
Now a world-class waterfront, Qingshan Riverside Park functions as a giant sponge city park, absorbing rainwater and generating 723 tons of carbon sink annually. In March this year, it successfully completed the province's first ecological carbon credit transaction.
It is not only beautiful, but we are positively surprised by the green care for nature and the ecological protection around it by the authorities. The Yangtze River is part of world history, and we are glad to experience it today.
This green revival flows seamlessly from the river to the lake. East Lake, China's largest urban lake, is now woven together by a 102-kilometer world-class greenway system. It was recognized by UN Habitat as a pilot project for improving urban public spaces, paving the way for an inclusive shared environment.
The most is sports cars because there is everywhere and open to everyone. This is very nice.
I think the most beautiful part of East Lake is the people, families, couples, children, and the elderly enjoying life together here.
From the busy Yangtze embankments to the serene waters of East Lake, Wuhan's transformation is about more than just urban aesthetics or green metrics. By turning industrial remnants into accessible public spaces, the city is returning nature to its people. He Jingyi, CGTN, Wuhan, Hubei Province.
For millions of Chinese workers, earning more used to mean leaving home. But one village in Zhejiang Province is trying to change that. By turning an unused village building into a workshop, local entrepreneurs are bringing jobs closer to residents, especially women who want to earn an income while staying with their families. Our reporter Yu Bo-kun has the story.
Millions of migrant workers leave home to earn a living. But what about the wives who stay behind? I went to Huangyan in Taizhou, Zhejiang Province to see how this village is creating opportunities for women.
Well, Xin'ao village is tucked away in the mountain. A portion of villagers, especially women, stays in the village. Behind me, it used to be an empty village hall, and today is transformed into a factory-style workshop.
This workshop employs nearly every woman in the village, giving them the choice to stay close to their families. Zhou joined the workshop in 2019. With 2 children at home, the job gives her the flexibility to make money while caring for her family. She says home is just a 2 minutes walk away. Zhou is one of many women in Xin'ao village working here. Each worker makes around 100 products per day. And the workshop is not only creating opportunities for younger workers. These transformations were driven by local entrepreneur Lu Caifen. What started as a small village project has grown into a model being replicated in other communities. Today, the workshop generates $3 million every year. Some products made here are sold through live stream e-commerce platforms with monthly sales exceeding 10,000 units.
If you think of it, it's actually a win-win-win model. So local companies bring in steady orders, and the village turned unused asset into a source of income, and villagers can find a job without having to leave home.
Xin'ao village is just one example. Across Taizhou, more than 1,800 village workshops have been built, creating jobs for tens of thousands of rural residents. For women in the mountains, these workshops are more than just workplaces. They are creating a sustainable path to higher incomes for themselves and other communities in China. Yu Bo-kun, CGTN, Taizhou, Zhejiang Province.
Coming up next on Global Business. Medical inbound tourism is building momentum thanks to China's visa-free policy. Well-trained doctors and internationally recognised facilities turning medical and wellness services into a strategic export sector.
The world economy as we know it is about to change. Global business reports highlight emerging markets, developing countries, and dynamic sectors worldwide. We feature top analysts and newsmakers to provide perspectives on every facet of business. From an on-the-ground perspective, we provide you with balanced and objective assessments. Fast, sharp, and insightful. Global Business, only on CGTN.
Against the backdrop of a rapidly growing cross-border medical tourism market, Guangzhou has emerged as a key hub for international cancer treatments. In today's report by CGTN's Aaron Liu, we follow an Indonesian patient's healthcare journey in China.
According to the National Health Commission's 2025 report, key foreign-oriented hospitals in China received 1.28 million international patients, marking a 73.6% increase over 3 years. What was once a niche offering has grown into a fast-expanding cross-border healthcare trend. Dr. Peng says he has seen a sharp rise in foreign patients over the past decade, mostly from Southeast Asia. One of them is Ronald, a patient from Indonesia.
We combined interventional therapy and cryoablation. Phase 1 results were positive.
Yeah, the treatment is very good and very nice. The doctors are very kindful, and yeah, they helped me very good. And last week I get my first treatment. It was a little bit painful, but yeah, okay, that's normal. It's for a few days, and now it's becoming a little bit better. So we will go on for the next week.
The conditions here are great. I feel reassured seeing him get treatment here.
Ronald's story mirrors a broader trend for overseas patients who find new viable treatment options at home. Hospitals in Guangzhou offer reliable, minimal invasive treatment options, according to local physicians.
Surgery went perfectly. Lesions are fully addressed.
Ronald left the hospital about 1 month after his procedure. His treatment took place amid new international medical policies rolled out in Guangzhou on April 29. The city has rolled out 12 supportive measures and launched an international medical tourism service center. The policy package covers end-to-end support, visa assistance, remote pre-consultation, and streamlined cross-border payment settlement.
From pre-arrival assessment to post-discharge cross-border follow-up, patients are freed from cumbersome paperwork.
Boosted by advancing medical technologies and improved administrative support, China is evolving into a major global hub for cross-border medical travel, a new bright spot within China's service trade exports. Aaron Liu, CGTN, Guangzhou.
For extra insights on foreigners choosing China for medical treatment, I'd like to bring in Jin Yuchen, Vice President of Shanghai Jinqiao College. Thank you for joining us on the show. So what are the driving factors behind why foreigners are increasingly choosing China for their medical treatment?
Thanks for having me. Great to see you, Lincoln. I think there are several structural factors behind this. I think number one is quality and cost. If you look at the medical facilities here in China, we have many advanced medical facilities powered by low-cost procedures. And many of these foreign tourists find it very cost-efficient to seek such treatments here in China because there are many great hospitals here in China, and oftentimes they have international departments which will receive these foreign tourists. And the cost is only at a fraction of the cost in some of the advanced economies. And so, it's both good quality and low cost. And number two is basically efficiency, right? And then, for a lot of these countries who have universal healthcare systems, oftentimes, it's you can't just take it, at face value because the time, that requires, to actually make these, appointments the time can take much longer. But here in China, if you request a CAT scan in the morning, you can get results in just a few hours, and sometimes in an hour, which is incredible. And so it's the general physician system, and also the specialist system combined all together. So a patient can request to see a specialist right away, as opposed to being seen by a general physician in the very beginning. So the overall efficiency is much better here in China. And number three, I think it has to do with the overall ecosystem. If you think about, China has lowered the visa requirements dramatically for many advanced economies, and and because of that, we're seeing medical tourism booming here in China. So it's a combination of tourism and healthcare. And so the combination of these two sectors provides a very good opportunity for the overall ecosystem, and it really provides this convenience for these foreign tourists.
So how much of the international medical tourism market is China poised to pull in, and who are the main stakeholders who stand to benefit most?
Right. If you look at some of the figures, I think currently, I guess medical tourism is roughly at around $35 billion globally, counting the 2025 figure. And that figure is projected to go beyond 100 billion by 2025. So currently, China captures a rather small, percentage of that, but we're still at a very early stage, and China has so much potential. And powered by both advanced technologies and the latest development in AI. And China already leads in many of the pharmaceutical areas. As we all know, China is the absolute leader in licensing out or outbound licensing when it comes to the pharmaceutical companies. And powered by the advanced medical facilities and also research in many of different areas, such as ADC and other areas. And also medical robotics. As we all know, Unitree is about to go public. It's one of the very first robotic companies to go public globally. And powered by all these latest technologies, as China is poised to capture a greater market share in this global medical tourism.
And how will increased inbound medical tourism reshape China's own industries in healthcare and wellness, also in the insurance and, I guess, more broadly, travel?
Right. We have to look at from two angles: first, tourism, and second, medical. Right. I mean, from a tourism standpoint, China is already one of the hottest or most sought after destinations globally. And with the lowered entry barriers, lowered visa entry barriers, and all these latest policies, we've already seen the increase of foreign tourists here in China. And wellness or medical purposes is now one of the reasons why tourists come to China, and sometimes can be a byproduct. And so I think tourism and the medical needs, they go hand in hand. And because of the lowered entry barriers, tourists get to spend more time here in China more easily. And if they want to get a procedure done here in China, they can easily do so. And we also have Hainan's Boao, being a testing ground or a pilot city for that, foreign or inbound medical tourism, which is very important. Foreign patients can get their medication more easily in Hainan. And so China provides all these, means and resources for these foreign patients. I think we're going to see this industry grow. Tourism and medical tourism grow hand in hand, and it's going to be an even bigger market in the future.
Healthy, wealthy and wise, as they say. Jin Chen, thank you very much for your insight today. He is Vice President of Shanghai Jinqiao College. With expanded visa-free policies, China is welcoming more international travellers. This summer, as many parts of the world face extreme heat, destinations across China are attracting visitors with cooler climates, stunning landscapes and unique cultural experiences. In southwest China's Yunnan province, some foreign travellers are going beyond sightseeing. They're stepping into local kitchens, learning to cook traditional dishes and discovering China through food. CGTN's Yang Jinghao takes us there.
Around 9 a.m. every morning, Wu Fanzi begins her day at a local farmer's market in Lijiang, southwest China's Yunnan province. Guiding foreign visitors through colorful stalls, she introduces them to local ingredients, traditional flavors, and the stories behind Yunnan's diverse cuisine.
Black tiger's paw mushroom. Looks like the black tiger's paw.
Yeah, no, we ate it already.
Yeah.
We ate it in the mountains.
Oh.
And we picked the mushrooms. It was so good.
Wu once worked as a tour guide. In 2020, she decided to start a cooking class.
I've always loved food. That was where the idea started. And since I can speak foreign languages, I thought, Why not share the best part of my hometown's culture with people from all around the world?
A trip to the local market is just the beginning. After discovering Yunnan's unique ingredients and flavors, these visitors would take the experience one step further. In the kitchen, visitors learn how to prepare typical Yunnan dishes, such as a chicken salad known locally as ghost chicken, a specialty of the Jingpo ethnic group. They also get to make rice noodles, a beloved staple food in the region. For them, this is more than cooking a meal. It's a chance to build connections across cultures.
It's very good to see, to enter a bit the local area, the local life, what people are doing here, instead of just passing by, visiting. It was the most important things for us to show the life of Chinese people for our kids.
So the cooking class brings a lot of different memories, and this is definitely in my top 3 of most memorable trips ever.
Over the years, Wu's cooking class has continued to grow in popularity. So far, she has welcomed around 2,000 guests from nearly 30 countries. This summer, as more travelers seek cooler destinations away from extreme heat, Yunnan's pleasant climate and unique culture are attracting increasing attention, and Wu's kitchen has also got much busier.
This year has been overwhelmingly busy. China's visa-free policy has really benefited small businesses like mine, bringing in more bookings and international visitors.
Wu says she plans to continue improving the program and add baking classes to enrich the traveler's experience. Food is undoubtedly a great way to connect with the local communities, but it's just one way international travelers are experiencing China more deeply. After exploring local cuisine in Yunnan, let's head to Chongqing, where visitors are capturing the city's energy on 2 wheels. Against the backdrop of the mountain city's dazzling night views, they are turning a motorcycle ride into a cinematic experience. It's a growing craze in Chongqing, southwest China. As night falls, travelers from around the world gather along Nanbing Road, hopping on motorcycles and capturing cinematic moments against the dramatic backdrop of this mountain city.
So we arrived just earlier this morning. This is the first thing we're doing. We haven't eaten, we haven't gone out for a drink. First thing on our list was to do the motorbike trend.
It's my first time in China, so I thought I want to do everything I can, and this looks like a great activity, so yeah, I just did it.
But before the engines roar, there's a quick lesson. The riders show visitors how to pose, where to look, and how to capture the perfect shot with the motorcycle.
Number 1, look. Okay, so you look straight. 1, 2. Open your hands.
I like this one the best, the heart.
I think the heart, and this one, it was very nice.
For these international travelers, language barriers are the least of their worries. What matters is the unique experience they are taking away with them.
I feel exhilarated. It was I was scared to do it, but I'm really glad I did. And I'm really excited to see how it turns out.
Oh, it was really nice. It's such an experience. I just seen it on Instagram, and now I think I enjoy it a lot, all the process.
Behind this popular experience is a growing motorcycle culture in Chongqing. The city is home to well-established motorcycle industry. Ji Xiaoyu was among the first local riders to explore motorcycle video shoots. Last year, he began reaching out to international enthusiasts through social media.
We have 3 riders on our team. Since September last year, we've worked with approximately 800 to 1,000 foreign visitors.
It's exciting, it's a lot of fun, and it looks great on camera. But above all, safety is always the top priority. Every night, traffic police officers remain close by to ensure safety.
During the shoot, we always wait for the traffic lights and make sure there are no vehicles behind us before we set off. The fast-moving effect you see in the videos is created through editing. Our actual speed is only around 20 to 30 kilometers per hour.
I think it was pretty safe. If I had some questions, I could ask them. And I think like we used a translator if I had some deeper questions. The staff was amazing and they made me feel secure all the way.
As Chongqing welcomes more international travelers, local riders like Ji say they will continue improving their services, and they hope more visitors can see the city from a different perspective, one filled with dazzling lights, speed, and excitement. Yang Jinghao, CGTN, Chongqing.
A youth delegation from Neustadt in southern Germany spent 10 days this summer exploring Quanzhou, a UNESCO World Heritage City once celebrated as the East's greatest port. Their itinerary wove together ancient maritime heritage sites, traditional craft workshops and specialty industry exhibitions, offering hands-on encounters with the port city's storied past. Even the summer heat offered a memorable impression. High-pressure misting systems lining the streets transformed water into ultra-fine cooling spray, lowering ambient temperatures through evaporation and shrouding the coastal city in a refreshing mist that surprised and delighted the visitors.
In parts of Europe and also in Germany, it's very hot. Here you have still temperatures and a great humidity. Everywhere you can find places with tradition, with culture. And the people, when you observe and when you look at the people, they respect it. And the German students see it. They see that the Chinese respect their culture and their traditions. And yes, that's something it's real. It's real. It's serious. And when it's serious, yes, you can estimate it and you can understand it.
So it was really, really cool. We've never seen this before.
It's not easy, but it's really cool to experience this. And yes, I always wanted to do something like this, to try it.
Like the show was really impressive, and the temple we saw this morning, and I also thought that I also think that the statue was really cool. Yes.
Still to come on Global Business. Canal crunch, Middle East conflict and precautious measures in response to a strong El Niño have driven a surge in demand and transit fees for the Panama Canal, squeezing shipping margins and reshaping global container flows.
A vast land of 1.4 billion people. The world's second largest economy. Home to stories of the unexpected, the unimaginable, the breathtaking. Stories that touch the soul. Feel the speed, the passion. Enjoy spectacular natural and cultural landscapes. Feel the thrill of cutting-edge innovations. Discovering China. Global Biz. China Travel. We present to China never seen before. 24/7 at your fingertips.
Panama Canal costs are surging due to a severe El Niño and the US-Iran war, with one container ship reportedly paying around $4 million to jump the queue. Ships are now waiting about 10 days in transit, the longest backlog since May, as falling water levels force the Canal Authority to impose draft limits. Starting August 15th, the maximum authorised draft will be reduced to about 14.78 metres, requiring vessels to carry lighter cargo. Daily auction prices for transit slots have hit record highs, with average bids reaching roughly $1.1 million, more than 16 times last year's level. The authority says it's ready to implement preventative measures based on lessons learned from the past 2 years of El Niño. For more on how El Niño and the Middle East conflict are affecting the Panama Canal, I'd like to bring in Zhou Mi, a Senior Research Fellow at the Chinese Academy of International Trade and Economic Cooperation. Thanks for joining us on the show. So could Panama's worsening water shortage trigger the next global shipping shock. How badly would any further draft reductions affect freight capacity, the rates paid, the reliability there, especially for Asia, East US coast supply chains?
Well, it is an important channel for the global trade. I think that Panama Canal is very important for cross the Atlantic to Pacific transportations. So for the East Coast, I mean that United States has a lot of exports coming from the East, especially for some of the petrol products and also some of the food. So they are not able to transfer through the Panama Canal. They have to go a lot far away from the tip of this both continents of the South America or Africa that costs a lot and will delay for more time. So this is a really important impact for the global logistics, especially when United States is trying to have a better export. In the past 2 years, they are really trying to export more things to the main markets, including the Asian market.
Is the Panama Canal still a dependable pillar of global trade, or must it now be treated as a climate-sensitive bottleneck risk? And if congestion worsens, which alternatives offer the best balance of cost, speed and reliability?
Well, it's hard to say. It depends on what kind of categories of the products. I think that most people are really rely Panama Canal to have a better transportations for the balance between the cost and also the time used. So when the Panama Canal are facing some troubles, other countries may try to find out some alternative supply chains. And the supply chains are so frustrated in the past 2 years. We are seeing, no matter from the tariffs or from the climate change, we are seeing that unstable of the supply chains are really affecting too many countries. So I think that it's a really problem. Some countries or partners are even trying to think about trying to regionalize their supply chains, and that is, the worsened conditions of the Panama Canal will drive them to think that more.
With El Nino, Middle East conflict, European drought and AI-driven chip demand occurring simultaneously, are we entering a new global inflation cycle or seeing the final peak of the current one?
Well, I think that there are so many factors, as you mentioned, but these factors are not just independent one from each other. They are having many of the dependent reactions one with each other. So I think that the inflation is a problem when the supply is not meet the demand. And I think that when they are trying to find some more reliable suppliers, the inflation may be not so high in the Asian market and in this region. But when they're facing the troubles with more fragile supply chains, they are facing more challenges coming from the North America or the European market.
Thank you very much, John Mi, for your analysis and expertise. He is a Senior Research Fellow at the Chinese Academy of International Trade and Economic Cooperation. Farmers in Australia are bracing for this year's Super El Nino, with forecasts pointing to hotter temperatures and much drier conditions. The extreme weather could severely affect the sugarcane industry, one of Australia's largest agricultural exports. Greg Navarro has the story.
After a recent harvest, Owen Menkins turns his attention to the equipment that he relies on.
And the pump's not working, so it keeps blowing fuses.
To keep hundreds of hectares of sugarcane growing on his far north Queensland property.
You've got this land here and you've got to make a living out of it, and that's challenging. So this cane is return cane.
Menkins is a fourth-generation grower on a sprawling farm just down the road that bears his family's name. He's well aware of the challenges and responsibilities that come with growing sugarcane in the Burdekin region, considered Australia's sugarcane capital.
So the whole community basically works around the sugar industry. That's where we're at, and the community relies on that whole industry to keep it afloat.
Australia's farmers are bracing for a possible Super El Nino and the added challenges it could bring to the world's driest inhabited continent.
Normally an El Nino is detected when the temperatures are about 1 degree, half to 1 degree above normal. The forecast this time is to be 4 degrees, up to 4 degrees above normal.
For Australia, scientists say that could mean much hotter and much drier conditions.
I would stress
for certain districts and for certain producers, obviously, it's absolutely devastating. So the industry will try and normalise through these really deep weather patterns, but certain sections of the industry will feel it worse than others.
Water is a huge component in the growth of sugarcane. When it's dry, and in particular during a drought, it not only becomes more critical, but more expensive.
It's just the amount you have to use, the volume has to increase, so therefore you obviously it's going to cost you a lot more to irrigate.
Especially if drier conditions persist for several years.
The water level you can see there is about 10 metres.
What makes the prospect of a super El Nino especially concerning is the financial pressures many growers are already facing. Much of that stems from higher diesel and fertilizer prices linked to the conflict in Iran.
Literally the first 10 days of March, the conflict started, and by the end of that week we started to see input price rises. So there was no way for farmers to be able to budget and forecast to build up storages of diesel or fertiliser to plan ahead.
Globally, sugar prices have fallen by about 30% because of an international oversupply. At the moment, the financial equation facing cane growers across Australia is simple and discouraging. The amount of money it's taking to produce these crops is substantially less than what they're receiving once they sell them.
Yeah, a bit nervous. We need the price to sort of come up a bit just to get us back on level pegging.
About 80% of Australia's sugar is exported overseas, making it one of the country's largest agricultural export industries. The remainder supplies Australian food and beverage manufacturers, meaning the crop plays an important role both at home and abroad. Over the past 150 years, sugar has become the economic backbone of many regional communities. From the steady streams of transport vehicles to the towering mill smokestacks that dot the tropical landscape. While sugar has long been a staple ingredient in foods around the world, its role continues to evolve.
To really being somewhere in the mix between a food and fuel security issue for the globe.
Queensland farmers are no strangers to weather extremes.
You obviously need things to go pretty well all year long for you to get a good crop.
But the prospect of a super El Nino comes at an already difficult time, adding another layer of uncertainty to an industry grappling with falling prices and rising costs. Will people make it?
Yeah,
in
theory, yeah. Some will, some won't. Yeah, that's kind of just the way it is. It's difficult, but the industry will survive.
For growers like Owen Makins, the next few months could help determine not only the size of the next harvest, but the future of family farms that have helped shape this region for generations. Greg Navarro, CGTN, Home Hill.
To Europe now, the Rhine River has fallen to new lows as a prolonged heatwave continues to grip Western Europe. Key shipping routes have been severely disrupted, affecting Europe's inland waterway transport on a scale not seen in decades. Ross Cullen has more from Strasbourg.
The Rhine is one of Europe's biggest and most important rivers, and it's suffering badly from the prolonged drought and heat waves. The punishing lack of rainfall is impacting traffic on the river as water levels drop to historic lows. It's having a negative impact on the river docks in Strasbourg in eastern France, which is the country's second biggest river port, behind only Paris. The authority that operates the docks says cargo imports and exports by boat have plunged because of the risk of vessels scraping the riverbed. The loads that would normally come in and go out by river have to be transferred, but that increases costs as shippers have to spread loads that would normally go on one boat between several vessels.
Here at the port, we have a service of 3 terminals, and that allows us to move from the river to the roads or the trains, so we can reorientate the storage so containers that now cannot arrive or depart by the river can instead be put on the train you can see behind me.
A difference of just a few centimetres in the Rhine's water level can mean the inability to load hundreds of tons of freight. Fuel costs are rising, and the roads and railways are increasingly busy as the amount of goods and grain being transported slows.
Normally, this port handles 20 cargo boats a week, but now it's just 3, and they are arriving at only 10% capacity.
Downstream from Strasbourg, France's national agency looking after river traffic says that while they have seen droughts before, This period of dry weather is more than exceptional.
We are really missing rainfall, especially in the Alps. The water in the Rhine comes from the Alps, but there are two sources, rainwater and snowmelt. Climate change means there is less snow, and this summer there has been much less rain, which means the water level is very low.
The Rhine is a critical waterway for cargo in Europe. Normally there would be 70 boats passing through these locks daily, but due to the significant reduction in river traffic, it's now just 20 a day. The Federal Association of German Domestic Shipping has warned that parts of the river are so low, in some areas under 30 centimetres, that the Rhine is at risk of splitting into two separate sections, meaning it would no longer be continuously navigable. The river forms part of the border between France and Germany, and water levels in western Germany and where the Rhine enters the Netherlands are now lower than at any point since records began. France is also grappling with plunging lake levels, reduced river flows and the growing impacts of climate change, hitting industry along the Rhine and hampering the river-borne economy. Ross Cullen, CGTN, Strasbourg.
Finally, to some other headlines we're tracking for you. Japan's producer prices rose 7.2% year-on-year in July, easing slightly from the previous month, with electricity costs leading the increase. The Bank of Korea said Thursday that it holds more than $250 million worth of a gold exchange-traded fund traded on the US stock market, marking its first investment in gold in 13 years. US SPDR Gold Trust is trading around $400, up from $360 last month. And the UK economy grew 0.4% in the second quarter from the previous quarter and 1.2% year-over-year, driven mostly by services. However, analysts warn that growth outlook will probably weaken later this year. That is a wrap for this edition of Global Business. I'm Lincoln Humphreys in Beijing. You've been excellent company. We'll see you next time. Goodbye.
China reaffirms its commitment to carbon neutrality and green energy goals, entering its 15th five-year plan period with a locked focus on renewables and carbon intensity cuts. Financial support. China's central bank vows to continue to optimize structural monetary policy tools to strengthen financial support for small businesses, tech innovation, and consumption boost. Currency fluctuations. The Japanese yen sliced toward 160 per dollar, reviving intervention fears, and markets now expect a BOJ rate hike in September. Good evening from Beijing and welcome to this edition of Global Business on CGTN. I'm Lily Lu. We begin with the latest on China's ecological and environmental progress. On Thursday, the State Council held a press conference to unveil the first ever Building Beautiful China 5-year plan, covering 2026 to 2030. The plan marks a strategic shift from isolated environmental measures to integrated efforts in carbon reduction, pollution control, ecological restoration, and economic growth. It sets 18 targets covering air, water, and soil quality, including a further 10% cut in nationwide PM2.5 density to below 27 micrograms per cubic meter by 2030, raising the share of good quality surface water to 85% and boosting rural sewage treatment to 70%. These goals support the broader 2035 vision. And separately, China's Ecological and Environmental Code takes effect on the 15th of August. China's Ministry of Ecology and Environment is set to roll out smart upgrade projects in air, water, and marine environments. The ministry will expand the use of AI predictive models and upgrade its air quality forecasting platform. It will also establish automated sampling stations for water environments and deploy unmanned marine surface vehicles for monitoring. In emerging areas such as solid waste and new pollutants, the ministry will use satellites with meter and sub-meter resolution imagery for routine remote sensing inspections. It will also monitor new pollutants by collecting samples at existing surface water and marine stations, and reducing costs and enabling integrated monitoring across media and indicators. For millions of Chinese workers, earning more used to mean leaving home. But one village in Zhejiang province is trying to change that by turning an unused village building into a workshop. Local entrepreneurs are bringing jobs closer to residents, especially for women who want to earn some income while staying with their families. Reporter Yu Bo-kun has the story.
Millions of migrant workers leave home to earn a living. But what about the wives who stay behind? I went to Huangyan in Taizhou, Zhejiang province to see how this village is creating opportunities for women.
Well, Xin'ao village is tucked away in the mountain. A portion of villagers, especially women, stays in the village. Behind me, it used to be an empty village hall, and today is transformed into a factory-style workshop.
This workshop employs nearly every woman in the village, giving them the choice to stay close to their families. Zhou joined the workshop in 2019. With 2 children at home, the job gives her the flexibility to make money while caring for her family. She says home is just a 2-minute walk away. Zhou is one of many women in Xin'ao village working here. Each worker makes around 100 products per day. And the workshop is not only creating opportunities for younger workers. These transformations were driven by local entrepreneur Lu Caifen. What started as a small village project has grown into a model being replicated in other communities. Today, the workshop generates $3 million every year. Some products made here are sold through live stream e-commerce platforms with monthly sales exceeding 10,000 units.
So if you think of it, it's actually a win-win-win model. So local companies bring in steady orders, and the village turned unused asset into a source of income, and villagers can find a job without actually leaving home.
Xin'ao village is just one example. Across Taizhou, more than 1,800 village workshops has been built, creating jobs for tens of thousands of rural residents. For women in the mountains, these workshops are more than just workplaces. They are creating a sustainable path to higher incomes for themselves and other communities in China. Yu Bo-kun, CGTN, Taizhou, Zhejiang Province.
Now shifting gears to China's film market. China's film market continues to heat up this summer. As of today, the box office during summer vacation, including pre-sale, has surpassed 9.2 billion yuan, or about $1.36 billion. The country's total box office for 2026 has exceeded 24.8 billion yuan, or more than $3.5 billion. Several films have delivered strong box office performances, and with new releases steadily being scheduled, the summer film market has gained greater momentum. Feature film Once Upon a Time in the Middle East, released on Tuesday, and in just 3 days, its total box office has already exceeded 400 million yuan. In the meantime, Kung Fu Soccer has accumulated over 2.2 billion yuan, and All Wishes Come True has grossed nearly 1.5 billion. Well, the newly released movie Once Upon a Time in the Middle East is the latest film sensation that's lighting up China's summer box office. Our reporter Jin Cheng-ying has more.
A Chinese restaurant, far from home, and a community caught in the shadow of war. Once Upon a Time in the Middle East follows Xu Fu, a Chinese chef who travels overseas to make a living, only to find himself confronting the realities of armed conflict. But rather than focusing on the battlefield, the film uses food and everyday life to explore survival, compassion, and the value of peace.
The film is about friendship, life, and children. What struck me most is that every life matters, no matter where or when.
And that story appears to be connecting with audiences. The film officially opened nationwide on August 11th. During preview screenings from August 8th to 10th, it generated nearly 40% of the box office, despite accounting for just 18% of screenings.
Some preview screenings were already close to full. The turnout and box office performance were better than we expected, and that gives us confidence.
The film's strong opening comes as China's summer movie season gathers pace, with domestic and international releases competing for audiences. Industry observers say competition remains intense in China's summer movie season, but strong word of mouth from preview screenings has continued to drive demand for Once Upon a Time in the Middle East. With its early box office momentum, the film could have staying power well beyond its opening weekend and emerge as one of the key domestic releases driving the second half of the summer season. Zheng Chunying, CGTN.
And southwest China's Chongqing is famous for its dramatic mountain landscape and vibrant food culture. And now international travelers are discovering another way to experience the city, that is by taking a motorcycle ride and posing for cinematic video shoots against its iconic urban backdrop. Our reporter Yang Jinghao takes us for a closer look at the trend.
It's a growing craze in Chongqing, southwest China. As night falls, travelers from around the world gather along Nanbing Road, hopping on motorcycles and capturing cinematic moments against the dramatic backdrop of this mountain city.
So we arrived just earlier this morning. This is the first thing we're doing. We haven't eaten, we haven't gone out for a drink. First thing on our list was to do the motorbike trend.
It's my first time in China, so I thought I want to do everything I can, and this looks like a great activity, so yeah, I just did it.
But before the engines roar, there's a quick lesson. The riders show visitors how to pose, where to look, and how to capture the perfect shot with the motorcycle.
Number one, look. Okay, so it's look straight. 1, 2. Open your hands.
I like this one the best, the heart.
I think the heart, and this one, it was very nice.
For these international travelers, language barriers are the least of their worries. What matters is the unique experience they are taking away with them.
I feel exhilarated. It was like, I was scared to do it, but I'm really glad I did. And I'm really excited to see how it turns out.
Oh, it was really nice. It's such an experience. I just seen it on Instagram, and now I think I enjoy it a lot, all the process.
Behind this popular experience is a growing motorcycle culture in Chongqing. The city is home to well-established motorcycle industry. Ji Xiaoyu was among the first local riders to explore motorcycle video shoots. Last year, he began reaching out to international enthusiasts through social media.
We have 3 riders on our team. Since September last year, we've worked with approximately 800 to 1,000 foreign visitors.
It's exciting, it's a lot of fun, and it looks great on camera. But above all, safety is always the top priority.
Every night, traffic police officers remain close by to ensure safety.
During the shoot, we always wait for the traffic lights and make sure there are no vehicles behind us before we set off. The fast-moving effect you see in the videos is created through editing. Our actual speed is only around 20 to 30 kilometers per hour.
I think it was pretty safe. If I had some questions, I could ask them. And I think we used a translator if I had some deeper questions. The staff was amazing, and they made me feel secure all the way.
As Chongqing welcomes more international travelers, local riders like Ji say they will continue improving their services, and they hope more visitors can see the city from a different perspective, one filled with dazzling lights, speed, and excitement. Yang Jinghao, CGTN, Chongqing.
From robot experience stores and new energy vehicle plants to rocket launch sites, China's technology has evolved into a tourist offering that welcomes visitors, hands-on experiences, and social sharing. Now, this trend is redefining China travel and has grown into a lucrative industry. Let's get more.
This is a drone delivery station in Shenzhen, which attracts international tourists every single day.
So you just got your drone delivery?
Yes.
For the first time?
Yeah, for the first time, yes. I was super happy. Like, it's really nice experience to do it, and it's like China is living in a different world. It's super amazing.
Yeah, I think it's really good. We got an ice cream served by a robot, and we're seeing the pizzas delivered by drone. It's pretty cool.
Foreign arrivals in China surged over 20% on a yearly basis in the first half of this year. Growing numbers of overseas visitors travel to China not just for its historic heritage, but to witness the future. In Shenzhen, global visitors are being amazed by drone delivery, robot experiences, and more. At one flagship tech retail hub, Inno 100, foreign visitors could try various tech gadgets.
Wow, it's so fascinating. We came to Shenzhen to see all your innovation, and now we can live it. It's not only seeing it, we can live it here. So this is so exciting. That this would help in going up
So this
on the mountain. It's perfect in our country.
Wow.
In terms of the technology, it's very advanced, and I appreciate how they've designed the rooms to showcase the technology and allow for us to interact with it. It's very futuristic. There's so much. I was over at the other store over there as well, and I was playing with some of the instruments. I'm a musician myself. I also work remotely, so I'm sitting on my desk all the time, so I thought I would come over and try some of these massages, which felt really good.
And these spots are also part of a tech-themed tour launched by local Shenzhen travel agencies.
Our tech-themed tours are flying off the shelves. We kick off the itinerary at this showroom, where visitors get to test drone food delivery and self-driving taxis. Plenty of foreign travelers come to Shenzhen solely for this one-of-a-kind tech excursion.
Since February this year, our store has seen a sharp uptick in foreign visitors. Amid the summer peak season, we welcome 100 to 200 international tourists daily, pushing foot traffic to record highs. Visitors are most drawn to hands-on demos of 3D printers and exoskeleton robots.
Citing U.S. tech outlet Rest of World, tourists will pay up to $9,000 for in-depth tours of China's tech spots. Since 2023, a Shanghai bespoke travel firm GI Open has run group tech tours. Here, their guide is leading visitors to experience new energy vehicles and robots.
Really, really cool cars, really advanced cars. In America, you only really see Teslas on the road, so it's cool seeing all these different cars and seeing how the seats move and all the different technology in the cars. So it was very different from what I see back home, much more advanced.
We had our robotic taxi tour.
So it was great.
The driverless taxi, so that's unique. We can't get that at home.
So experiences we've had today we don't have in Australia.
And the firm has served roughly 1,500 overseas tourists in the past year, with total clients projected to hit around 2,000 by late 2026.
Oh, the first thing is China is a huge jaw-dropper for them. You have all these features. So for them, it's like, wow, it's just big wow. During busy time, is like we have clients every day.
At the beginning, we were focusing on welcoming customers, foreign customers to China. Later on, we focused more and more on business and technology. So that was a development, I would say. It was both from the customer side, so there were more and more demands for the tech tour. I think the trend will still continue to grow. I think it's a large enough market. I think there will be more and more people, especially after it's like a snowball. Our growth has been quite surprising growth. We have increased our revenue by 5 times between 2024 to 2025 and 2025 to 2026. Every year we're growing about 3 to 5 times our revenue.
With futuristic tech tours emerging as China's new calling card, major online travel giants including Flicky and Alibaba are poised to venture into tech tourism. China's tech-themed inbound tourism is set to capture a larger market share.
And still to come here on Global Business. Currency fluctuations. The Japanese yen slides toward 160 per dollar, reviving intervention fears. And markets now expect a BOJ rate hike in September.
The world economy as we know it is about to change. Global business reports highlight emerging markets, developing countries, and dynamic sectors worldwide. We feature top analysts and newsmakers to provide perspectives on every facet of business. From an on-the-ground perspective, we provide you with balanced and objective assessments. Fast, sharp, and insightful. Global Business. Only on CGTN.
And here's a quick look at top financial and business headlines from around the world. The People's Bank of China has pledged targeted financial support for domestic demand, technological innovation, and small businesses while maintaining a moderate easing stance. By June, lending to key sectors had accelerated while the renminbi exchange rate remained stable. In Norway, central bank kept its benchmark rate at 4.25% on Thursday as cooling inflation clouded the outlook for further hikes. July core inflation hit 2.7%, below the bank's 3.3% forecast, yet still above its 2% target. And over in the UK, the country's economy grew by 0.4% in the second quarter from the previous quarter, and that is a 1.2% year-on-year growth. Now, that was driven mostly by services sectors. However, analysts warn that a growth outlook will probably weaken later this year. The Japanese yen's renewed slide toward 160 per dollar has revived intervention fears, but analysts say that structural flaws are real drivers. Trading above 159 on Thursday, the currency is nearing levels that prompted U.S.-Japan joint buying earlier this year. Market pricing now implies a 74% probability of a rate hike by the Bank of Japan at its September 18th meeting, with officials signaling a possible move in September or October. Yen weakness has pushed up living costs for Japanese households. Economist Hisato Tsune says that structural issues, including overseas production shifts and chronic labor shortages, render intervention largely ineffective and leave the yen vulnerable to further declines.
Because the yen's weakness is driven by structural factors, even if currency intervention is carried out, it is actually very difficult to truly reverse the exchange rate trend and sustain a yen appreciation. In this sense, some market participants even believe that once the authorities step in, it would instead present a buying opportunity for the dollar, so the yen remains hard to strengthen. So intervention is unlikely to change the yen's weakening trend. The market broadly still sees room for further depreciation. That is why, despite repeated signals from the Japanese government about possible intervention, the market has not shown a notable reaction. This is the current reality.
South Africa's already strained trade relationship with the U.S. has taken another hit. Despite months of negotiations, new tariffs from Washington on South African goods are here to stay. Sumitra Naidoo reports.
In February, a U.S. court overturned Trump's sweeping tariffs, but Washington has now imposed a new 12.5% tariff on a wide range of South African exports. The duties, introduced under Section 301 of the U.S. Trade Act, targets countries the Trump administration says have failed to prevent goods made with forced labor from entering their supply chains. Allegations Pretoria has strongly rejected.
We believe that we've got the rules and the laws in place to prevent that activity, particularly as relates to forced labor and importation of goods from forced labor. We maintain that, of course, the findings from the U.S. government is that we don't.
South Africa lobbied its case in Washington, but the tariffs are here to stay, at least until the Department of Trade and Industry starts its process to address U.S. concerns.
We've taken a decision as a result thereof to publish a gazette for public comment. The Gazette is not necessarily a admission that we do in fact import goods from forced labor, but it is involving a public process where if there are findings that there are these kind of things happening, perhaps not in sight of the state at the moment, we'd be able to mitigate against it.
Before Trump's Liberation Day tariffs, most South African goods entered the U.S. duty-free under AGOA, the African Growth and Opportunity Act. Automotive and aluminium products have since faced 25% import duties, but they are now exempt from the latest tariffs, along with several critical minerals and agricultural products.
For oranges, nuts, and certain fruit juices, there's still no tariffs at the moment. And that shows you, though, that the U.S. administration understands that these tariffs are inflationary because they exempted them because these are the products they don't have and their consumers wanted these products.
South Africa is not alone as Washington widens its global trade offensive, with 60 U.S. trading partners also facing the new tariff regime.
Now these tariffs are not isolating South Africa like the 30% we were in while our competitors were facing far lower tariffs. They are not favorable, but at the same time not disastrous, if one can say that, because we could compete. Chile, Peru, they are facing the same tariffs as us, and they usually are major competitors in the U.S. market.
Despite the growing tensions, Pretoria is adamant the U.S. remains an important trading partner. In the meantime, South Africa is accelerating efforts to diversify its export markets, with China emerging as a key partner after Beijing announced a zero-tariff policy for African countries. Sumitra Naidu, CGTN, Johannesburg.
China's sweeping zero-tariff policy, which was enacted in May, is sparking a major push for exports across Nigeria. For a nation that's separate to diversified beyond oil, this duty-free access to the Chinese market offers a golden ticket for farmers and manufacturers to scale their global ambitions. Tessim Akendi reports.
A massive trade shift is brewing. China has slashed tariffs on agricultural imports like coffee beans, turning its lucrative market into a prime target for Nigerian agribusiness. But this policy breakthrough ripples far beyond the coffee fields.
Coffee is the main cash product of Ethiopia, and if we can develop this here in Plateau State, definitely it will help in the development of the economy of Plateau State and Nigeria in general.
Beijing's zero-tariff policy spans 53 African nations. In Nigeria, the stakes are exceptionally high, with bilateral trade towering at an estimated $20 billion. This makes it China's second-largest trading partner in Africa, next only to South Africa. Out of the amount, China's exports to Nigeria is valued at about $13 to $16 billion, while Nigeria's exports to China is valued at about $2 billion. That staggering trade deficit represents an enormous untapped opportunity. Analysts say this duty-free access is Nigeria's opportunity to balance the scales by aggressively scaling up non-oil export values. However, several structural bottlenecks, namely chronic power outages and rural insecurity, continue to hamstring local industries.
In the value chain of agriculture, we have a particular challenge with cold storage. So one of the challenges we've confronted over the decades is how to reduce post-harvest loss because of poor storage capacity. We want to see how to grow the feeds for the cattle, the ruminants for the animals. There's a huge opportunity waiting there across the entire country.
The federal government maintains it is unlocking critical investments to stabilize the national grid and safeguard farming hubs. Crucially, Beijing is stepping in to assist.
We believe that power is very fundamental for the industrialization. And China is a leading player in renewable energy, both in terms of solar power and wind power, nuclear and water. So we also explore the potentials, for cooperation in the infrastructure. For Nigeria, I think one of the challenges is security. There are, of course, a lot of Chinese investments here. There are a lot of Chinese citizens, and so that's why Chinese government attach huge importance for the protection of Chinese citizens overseas.
If successful, these measures could do far more than just rebalance trade lines. They are projected to spark an export boom that could supercharge job creation across the entire country. Kassim Akende, CGTN, Jos, Nigeria.
And with that, we've come to the end of this edition of Global Business on CGTN. I'm Lin Lu in Beijing. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.